eyes better than the other.
Good morning.
Morning.
How we doing?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. I'm cold, man. It's 46 degrees here.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I'm in Connecticut right now, and it's cold enough here.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, because you guys I'm on the water for the lake, so yeah, I mean, the difference in the city is easily 10 degrees warmer than it would be here, so yeah. But it's such is life. How long you stay north for?
Till Friday morning.
Okay.
And then I'm out.
Is it usually back and forth, like whatever, every 10 days or weekly, or what's
Yeah, 7.
What's the travel been like? I mean, I haven't been on an airplane since February. Is it the airport's picking up again, or is it still pretty quiet?
No, you missed a really good stretch of nobody in the airports.
All right.
I mean, I didn't really from March 12th until June 26th. I was in Florida that whole time.
Okay.
Then I flew back once for 2 weeks because of the quarantine.
Yeah.
And then I took like the month of July off, kind of. But, I was in the process of moving and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I started like really regularly flying in August. And it's still been, I see more people at the grocery stores than I do in the airports.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like they don't even have TSA pre-check open because there's nobody there at the airport.
Right.
The traffic I've noticed starting to pick up. I've caught myself a little bit flat-footed a few times going into New York, which normally has traffic.
Right.
And
like, are you talking road traffic?
Pardon?
Are you talking road traffic, or are you actually talking like? Oh, really?
No, road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it last Friday it took me like 2 hours to get back from JFK to my house, and normally it takes 45 minutes.
Wow.
So, but normally I fly a small airport on both sides. I fly out of Westchester, which is a small airport, like 30 minutes from my house. And, it's 2 minutes from security to the gate. If that, like literally you pick up your bags and you sit down at the gate.
Yeah.
But they don't fly to Fort Myers during the summertime. It's a seasonal flight. So it's like October to May. So there this week it just opened up. So the middle seat's still empty and I usually just fly JetBlue, so middle seat's still empty.
That's great. Good morning, Doc. Good morning, Kendall.
Morning.
Yeah, you know what? It's the last flight that I took was in I'm going to say it was early March, and the border was closing. So I left Richmond, Virginia, and there might have been, from Richmond to Minneapolis, there might have been 8 people on the whole plane. That was it. From Minneapolis back to Winnipeg, the plane was absolutely packed with Canadians, rushing back home because, after a certain amount of time, you end up not having health insurance. So all these snowbirds back then were like, hell, we gotta head home. I'm curious as to how this winter is going to work for a lot of just Northerners, never mind Canadians. I mean, folks, I would think that Americans going, traveling within the country is not going to be that big of a deal this winter, regardless.
Right. And most people having now this being not as new, come south and they'll stay south. They were worried about being stuck in, their house. People were boarding up the doors.
Right.
That's not going to happen. So, Northerners in terms of the U.S. will come down because they don't come down for just a week at a time. They come down for the entire winter.
Right.
I am curious to see what the Canadians are going to do because I don't know what the directive is from the government, but they were all worried about losing their health insurance should they stay or get sick in the U.S. I don't know if that's still the directive.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that the and we'll get started here in a quick second, everybody. Good morning, Maria. My assumption is if you travel, from Canada down to the United States, anywhere, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks before you, and again, that's a self-imposed self-quarantine. I know that for Canadians, even if you swap provinces, they suggest quarantining for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's one of the reasons that I've been trying to avoid travel at all costs, because if I go to the U.S., it's a 2-week quarantine, and then it's a 2-week quarantine to come home. I'm quarantined for a month. It just doesn't make any sense, and this now becomes a lot more the norm.
Right.
So I'm gonna just jump right in. I don't know if Ron or Ronnie are gonna get on the call. We can assume that maybe Ron is dropping off some little people to school, or I don't know what's going on there, but we're just going to jump right in. You guys will get the recording. So, and Maria will probably just hop right back in. So how does everybody feel about handling objections? We really pushed on that last call. And Andy, I really want to say thanks for that email. I mean, to get people from the good to great space when it comes to closing, that's the whole point of this. So I appreciate you making a comment to that. But how do you feel about how it went last call?
How do I think, or are you asking the group?
Yeah, I'm asking you specifically, Andy.
No, I think it went well. I think it is something that we need to drill so that it is second nature. Because there's a level, when you're not really comfortable with something and an objection comes up and it's not first nature, there's a little bit of panic.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, what do I do?
Right.
But with drilling and practicing, even amongst ourselves, it becomes more and more comfortable, and it just kind of like flows out of your mouth. The habits that we have from before of, the neuro-linguistics of agreeing with somebody when they say the price is too high. That's something, we have to, I'm myself, I don't know that I do it. Maybe my face says something differently, but I think it's all about repetition. Yeah,
you're nailing it on the head, man, and it's exactly right. Especially for those of us that have been at something for so long, it's great to have outside eyes, looking and or listening in, outside ears listening in and going, okay, hang on a sec. And just these small course corrections can make a huge difference at this point in your business. All right, and so one of the things that I want to accomplish with everybody today is we're going to do a testimonial video that we're going to send over to Dawn and everybody at corporate. We'll do that towards the end of the call today. I'm just going to do a review of some of the other things that we talked about over the last few calls. We already know about acknowledging people when they walk in, play your A game, first 3 questions, and then getting people on the bike. I want to now try to, I'm going to lump all of this together and go into, because we've topic jumped a lot during our calls, and I want to go over some of the points that over the last couple of calls that were going to make sense to be able to put the army of one concept of how to get that popcorn effect and how to be able to get more leads after the sale is made. So, you guys have already said that the target, is $1 million in Naples for 2021. Marco Island, you also have a percentage of, you're saying 60% is going to be coming from rentals. And we need to get those people to repeat on a regular basis. And we need those people that are going to be renting, telling other people about what a great experience they're going to have at your location. We covered the SOS on the last call, which is the 2-step system where you hear an objection, or somebody gives you an objection, and you can acknowledge, then ask the question. And the one thing that I want to confirm with, that make sure that everybody on the call is comfortable with, is what kind of deal can you give me? So, Kendall, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so Kendall, if you're just getting caffeinated, that's okay. We're just going to go with this anyways. If I
Oh,
were
Lord.
if I were to say to you, what kind of deal can you give me? How do you answer that?
Sorry, I'm looking at my notes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want you to do, for sure. Just refreshing your mind here. And don't worry, this is the safest place to make mistakes, remember? So it's totally cool.
Okay, so so you say, what kind of deal do you want to give me? Or what kind of deal can you give me? I'd say I appreciate that you would like a good deal. What exactly are you looking for?
Right. Or you could say, what exactly did you have in mind? Exactly. So
What exactly do you have in mind? Yeah.
I threw this up on screen for everybody. The question that now comes into play is the following. What if I said to you, well, can you give me $500 off?
I would say I totally appreciate that you want that killer deal, but out of respect for my other clients, is there another deal that would allow us to have that win-win situation?
Girl, you know what? That is awesome. So keeping in mind that if you're over the realm of possibility that Andy has put in place that right now is currently sitting. Go ahead, Claudia, did you want to add something there?
No, I'm sorry. I'm very busy, but I'm listening everything.
That's great. Okay, thank you. So just keep in mind that if your prospect turns around, and again, we know that your customers, which I'm pointing at the sheet of who we've put together as a customer avatar, they love to negotiate. If they come in at under your $300 off of total invoice with all of those accessories, if that comes into play, you now have a choice to either continue to push towards the zero mark where you make more profit, or you can quickly, based on how busy you are in the store, you can quickly turn around and just, okay, we're going to close this. And you could say, so what you're saying is, if I do throw in the Connect C post, which of course only costs you $137.50 versus $249. So what you're saying is, if I could throw in that Connect C post, you're going to do this now and allow them to, for as long as it takes, I don't care how long that silence is, that is critical that we hold our position and we, until our prospect gives us a response. But that's great. I'm glad, Kendall, that you've picked up on that. So now you guys have, everybody, those who are watching the video, you get to practice this and keep hammering this. The one other thing that I put up this on the notepad, and if you can see this here, it says, we got this. When you ask for the sale, right? Even if somebody says, what kind of deal can you give me? And you say, hey, I totally appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly do you have in mind? And they turn around and they say, hey, can you throw in that really cool helmet? Start thinking, we got this, not I got this. We, you and me, inclusive with your prospect. So what you're saying is, if I throw in that Santa helmet, you're going to do this right now? Because what you think about, you bring about. And it all comes back to your why. If I come back to the very beginning, one of the very first question that I asked you guys, why are you guys doing this? And it's about family. It's about legacy. It's about having a great team, the enjoyment of it, the opportunity, which is life-changing, and the impact that you have on the community is what you guys said, that you're having a place of joy. It's great product. There's a fitness component, and ultimately it's fun. And when we come back to the why, all this starts to make sense, including the template. So now that we've got that in play, I'm just going to keep moving on with the curriculum that I've worked again. We talked about the importance of you using this system. And again, you guys get to edit the template any way you want. So I sent this over to Andy, and you guys should have a copy of this, but you guys could change this up any way you want, how you get people onto the bike and what questions that you want to ask as far as the order. But as long as you guys have this in some kind of policies and procedures manual, what happens is it allows you to scale your business and make sure that people are asking appropriate questions quickly. So does everybody remember the idea of behind good, better, best? Where you go best, better, good, as opposed to good, better, best?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So the idea behind using this template is when you want to be able to get people out on test rides as often and as quickly as possible. The first three questions here, these three questions over here, right? First time in the store, how'd you hear about us, ever ridden a Pedego? The whole idea behind that is simply to be able to get your follow-up early. So you guys are subscribing to LeadCycles. Does everybody on the team have the LeadCycles icon on their phone?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We have it on an iPad that we use in the store.
So to me, what the thing that's ultimately important is to make sure that you're following up with everybody who comes in. Anybody, even if somebody doesn't want to ride, right? If somebody says they absolutely refuse to, nope, I'm not riding today, then you can ask them, would you like to enter a $100 gift card draw? Or one way or another, we recommend a contest so that you can do name capture so that you can have some kind of follow-up with people. Because if you don't follow up, right, the fortune's in the follow-up. And I think Kendall, being the social media expert, I think you could agree that if you don't follow up with people, it's very challenging to continue to build a relationship if they didn't buy, correct?
Yes.
What are the numbers for you as the social media pro? What do the numbers show as far as touches before somebody makes a buying decision on social media? I know what it is just in sales in general. Do you know what those numbers are by chance? I'm curious.
For us particularly, usually, I mean, it's not even social media for like when you go touch and go wise, but as keeping in contact, I would say that they usually call 2 to 3 times if they didn't buy the first time, to schedule appointments or reach out or whatever it is. I would say that. I don't necessarily think that it's some type of communication and contact. It's not necessarily just like MailChimp, Facebook, Instagram, but just some form of contact.
That's great, because the fact is that, your customer, we don't know specifically where they are, maybe physically in terms of when they're not in the store, but we do know this. Everybody's hanging on to one of these. For the most part, they're either on social media or they're using email. And so the goal has to be at the end of your sale, you want to be able to get social proof. And I'm going to come back to the popcorn effect because I know I talked about it briefly with you guys before, but because we're bringing up social media and social proof. Andy, have I shown you guys examples of some of the things that you can do post-sale when you've actually said to somebody, congratulations?
I know that we had talked about the French fry effect.
Yeah.
And following up with a call like a week later, which I like. I don't recall if you said anything after the congratulations.
That's great. So one of the things that's important is we've gone through all of our list of questions. We've gotten people out on test rides. Every time that they come back, being alone on a test ride is the best time to ask for the sale. And remember, you're going to ask at least 5 times to get to a yes. And it's being relentless. It's not being a pain in the ass. It's just there's a difference between being a pain in the butt and being relentless. Right? If our why is powerful enough in terms of we want to help people in the community get on Pedegos and build our Pedego electric bike community of people that love riding and getting fun, fitness, and freedom, then we're doing our relentlessness is with win-win in mind. You get to that point where we come back to this when somebody says, what kind of deal can you give me? This is when you can negotiate social proof. And again, social proof is incredibly important. You want to be able to get people to give you, in my world, a variety of different things that don't really cost them anything, but it actually saves you money. And so here's what I mean. Andy, say for example, let's just role play this out. Go ahead and say, hey Joe, can you throw in a couple $100?
Hey Joe, can you throw in a couple $100 with this bike, or take a couple $100 off?
Okay, Andy, so what you're saying is if I can take $200 off total invoice, you're going to want to do this right now?
Yep.
All right, well, congratulations. Welcome to the Pedego family. We can make this work. There's a couple of things I'm going to need from you in return. So hear me out. This is how this plays out, guys, is you congratulate the prospect who's now transitioned to become a customer. Congratulations, you're now a customer. Great. Now you're going to say, I need a couple of things from you in return. Number one, you'd say, Andy, what I need from you is I need to make sure that you're going to give us I'm going to give you the couple $100 that you're looking for. Would you be open to giving us a 5-star Google review? You just want to confirm that you're going to get that. Number one. Number two, I'd love to be able to get a written testimonial from you so that I could put that up on my social media. Getting it in writing is great. It's not just a 5-star review. You also want to have something in writing. Number three is I would say, hey, so Andy, what I'd also like to do is I want to be able to stand in front of your brand new bike and just take a quick video with you so that I could let other people know you just bought a bike. And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you the one question is, why did you buy this bike? And then the last thing that I would, again, negotiate is I would say, so, and Andy, who do you know who? 5 words. Who do you know who? Who do you know who that is just like you as a customer, right? Because birds of a feather flock together. Who do you know who that would love to be able to ride a Pedego just like you? That'd be open to coming in for a free rental or free ride? Because it comes back to butts on bikes. So if I can get people just like Andy to come into the store and Andy knows them, why not? And the way that I would do it is I would say, okay, Andy, we're going to do 2 videos. The first one's just going to be you in front of your bike. The second one, we're going to make a video specific to a couple people that you know. Name 2 people that you know firsthand that would be open to coming in for a ride. So, Andy, I know you're muted, but I'm going to ask you, what is the cost of a rental at Marco Island or in Naples?
I haven't tested the price.
Sorry, man. I don't know if it's because you just turned the car on.
45 for a half day.
Okay.
Pardon?
What,
45 for a half day and 80 for a full.
And what about do you do an hour?
Yeah, the hour is $20 an
Cheap. Okay. It's great. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean by doing this. Like, again, you've just congratulated someone for making the right decision. You've gone through your list of accessories, right? And then now what you're doing is you're providing them with an opportunity to give you social proof. So let me show you guys what I mean by this. I could grab my phone and stand in front of the bike with Andy and go, hey everybody, it's Joe Barcu from Pedego, Naples. I'm here with someone you know. This is Andy Bertel. Andy, say hi. Andy says hello. So Andy, we're doing this video for a couple of your friends. What are your friends' names? And just name two people, first names only. Go ahead, Andy. Just role play it.
John and Paul.
John and Paul. Hopefully you guys are from the Beatles. Anyways, John and Paul, listen, the reason that we're sending you this video is we want to invite you to come in for a free rental that Andy, who's now not only an owner of a Pedego, he's actually bought the rental for you guys. So we're inviting you to come in, bring in this video, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Something to that effect. So what I would do is I would take this video that's on my phone, right? I'm Joe from Pedego, Naples, and I send it over to Andy, who's the customer, right? So, you know, whoever, and the point is Andy will now take the video that we created on my phone, and Andy sends it over to his buddies, John and Paul, as a text. Kendall, what is the open rate from a friend? A text from a friend. What's the open rate?
Oh, 100%.
So now Andy knows other people who are just like him as a customer. He's talking to John and Paul. In the video, it would be, hey, we're giving you a free rental. Bring it in. And it's not me as the salesperson saying, hey, Andy, give me the names and phone numbers of people you know. Because Andy's friends are going to go, dude, what the F? Why are you giving my phone number out to people? But if I create the video and I send it over to Andy and I just ask Andy, hey, man, listen, I'm going to give away, I'm going to make it so that you're actually looking like the hero that you bought a couple of rentals for your friends, but I'm going to pay for it. and I'm going to get people to come in, and maybe we could all go out for a ride together as a group. I'll tell you what happens is you build momentum. And again, birds of a feather flock together. So if you want more of those people who are buying bikes from you, who better than those people to refer people back to your business, especially now. So I want to show you guys what that looks like, because, and Andy, stop me if I've shared these videos with you guys before, because if I have, then let's not waste any time here. So let me show you.
While that's loading,
Yeah,
one of the things that we wanted to do is start doing group rides. And we're going to do it on Thursday nights. And what it was going to be was, it was going to be group rides just for Pedego owners.
Okay.
And if they had a friend that was interested in the Pedego, they could come for free and use our, use a Pedego for, on us to go on the group ride, so it brings in that community atmosphere of everybody's on a Pedego and they see how much fun it is. And, Trek doesn't do that. Specialized doesn't do that. This is part of the community and the benefit of owning the bike. So, it could be, we could loop that into the social proof, possibly, or just leave it as an open rental.
Any time, and I'm just gonna, I'll come back to the share screen in a sec here. Anytime that you have a customer who comes in who's bought from you before, like, this is my point about using technology as an advantage to build social proof. A customer who's owned a bike from you guys for years comes back in just to shoot the breeze, check out an accessory, or comes in for regular maintenance on their bike for a tune-up. It's your opportunity to go, hey, John, hey, can I bug you for a quick sec? Listen, I got a quick favor. Do you mind if we do a quick video? How long have you owned your bike? Do you mind? I mean, these are opportunities for you to create content of actual people with stories to tell, as opposed to, here's a picture of John with his new bike. I mean, people just see ya. But if you put that up on YouTube, like that, now you create, like, do you guys currently have a YouTube channel? I never asked that question before.
No, corporate does though. It's not usually dealers don't specifically.
Right.
At least that I know of.
So Kendall, what's the number 2 search engine in the US right now?
Well, I think I know YouTube is for instructionals, which I completely understand. I think that we definitely, is that something that we want to get into, is putting YouTube, because we can personally have instructional stuff that's attached to our website. I think just trying to figure out the best method for me personally is what's challenging at the moment.
So any videos that you put up there or on YouTube, here's how it benefits you. Who owns YouTube?
Isn't it Facebook?
Google.
China.
Google, that's it. Basically Google.
So Google, number 1 search engine on the planet, right, owns YouTube, which is the number 2 search engine in North America. When you're posting YouTube videos, it actually has an effect on your Google search engine optimization. So
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Wow.
So YouTube is free. It's owned by Google. You create content already with people coming in the store anyways. It is social proof. And here's the thing. Even that video that I did for Andy's buddies, John and Paul, I asked Andy, hey, Andy, is it okay that we could post this up on all social media? Sure. So even if there's a video that says, hey, John and Paul, blah, 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 and Cindy walks in the store and says, listen, my name isn't John and Paul, but I'm wondering if I could get a ride on a bike, because she sees that video, who cares? It's content that eyes will get to. People will see it.
Mm.
Again, the cost for you is nothing, but the benefit for you in the end is massive. So again, using technology, and I'm going to give you an example. Again, 2 videos. Here's an example of a woman who was in Alpharetta, Georgia, and we did this first video with her like this.
Hey everybody, it's Joe Marcoux with Pedego Electric Bikes. I'm with Greg Godwin, the owner of Pedego Alpharetta, and Amy, the newest member of the Pedego family, with her soon-to-be fully red and brown packaged out with foldy lock Pedego boomerang. So welcome to the family, Amy. Amy, real quick, what made you pick this bike?
Oh, it was you guys.
There you go.
Is that
Thank
right?
you. That's perfect.
That's fantastic. You know what? That's really sweet. You can't see, but I'm blushing behind the camera. Well, we appreciate you and welcome, and happy early birthday, because this is Amy's birthday present to herself. Thumbs up and welcome to the Pedego family. Great job, guys. Thank you.
Big hugs.
So let me clarify on this one. Number,
Why do you sound so young?
what's that?
You sounded like you were a teen boy in that.
I don't know. Might have been the video. The point of the video, though, is Amy. So I was doing training in Alpharetta. Amy comes in. She's a flight attendant with Delta Airlines. I remember her obviously very well. And we went through the process that we're doing now. And she bought the bike. And the day before, she was in California, and she had tried a Mac for over $1,000 less. Again, what did I ask her? Why did you buy this bike? It was you guys. It had nothing to do with the bike. It was, right? It was us. It was the relationship that we created with her. Okay? So you put that up on social media, it has an effect on you. Now here's the other video that we did with Judy. Same concept.
Hi guys, my name is Joe Marcoux, and I'm with Pedego Electric Bike in Alpharetta, and I'm with someone you know, which is Amy. And Amy, you just bought yourself a Pedego, and you're gonna tell these folks that we're making this video for something.
Hey, Judy, you need to have this bike, or one of these bikes, one of these electric bikes here, definitely.
So come by and see us, and come and talk to that guy right there. He's gonna give you a free rental. It's worth $30.
$30?
Yeah, you can rent it out. So
bargain.
you and Amy can go out for a ride together for an hour or two, absolutely free of charge, and try it and go have a blast. Go have maybe a glass of wine after, and there you go.
All right.
So welcome to the family.
Hey.
Come
Bye,
see us.
Judy.
See ya.
Oh, I got this watch. Maybe you can get one too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So how excited is this woman? Right? She just bought the bike. How excited is she about the ownership experience already? Right? So, and by the way, Judy did go into Alpharetta and buy. So Amy, I do the video with Amy. I send it over to her phone. She sends it over to Judy, and she walks into the store later and buys. So we know, and what does it cost you, Andy, to do that?
A rental?
No. Sure, a rental at best. If somebody comes in and buys the bike, and what does it cost you to advertise to people like that?
That's nothing. Yeah.
It's zero. So I've shown other stores how to do this. Do you know Linda from Pedego 101 Westlake Village, California? Linda and John.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to show this to everybody on the team. And again, you don't have to be a pro. This is one of the things. Again, you got to step outside of your comfort zone, guys. And I will tell you, the first time that it's like the first time you guys try to handle the objection with SOS, you suck at it, but then with practice, you get better at it. The first time you get in front of the video camera, I'm going to tell you, you're going to suck, but you've got to embrace it and then get better with it with time. So here's an example. And she gets better.
I was just telling you about the wonderful ride I had last week at low tide.
It sounded so cool.
We went up to Point Doom, and then we went about 14 miles down the beach, all the way down to Malibu Road from Point Doom. And it was so low we could get around all the rocks and the houses. It was just spectacular.
And you did all that on your trail tracker bike here, which we just got all set up. I don't know if I can get this right. There we go. And is there anybody, Eric, that you'd like to send this message to say, hey, you guys would love this ride too?
Yeah, my sister Denise.
Okay.
Denny, you would love this bike. You better try it out and come down and buy yourself one.
I think that's a great idea, Denny. Give us a call anytime. Thank you so much, Eric.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, guys, the cost for Linda to do that is zero. You get people, and Linda would be the first person to tell you. She says, Joe, I hate the way I look on camera. I'm not comfortable with it. But who better than your existing customer who you've just congratulated that they've just made the right buying decision to create a video like this and send it over to them, and then with their permission, it is powerful. It is.
Yes, pass home.
All right. So I just want you guys to consider this after you make the sale. You've congratulated somebody. You've gone through their full list of accessories. You've negotiated what you need to on your end. But you know, our customer is negotiating. They listen to one radio station that's WIIFM. What's in it for me? I'm giving you guys the authority, okay? You are allowed to negotiate back. You can come to an agreement of, hey, what kind of deal can you give me? You agree to the price. Now let's save some money. Let's save Andy some money on the cost of doing business, in the sense of, I want to decrease my marketing dollar. So I want to be able to have people come in at zero cost per lead. That's what. And how do you find that out? Go back to the beginning when it's like, hey, first time in the store. Awesome. How did you hear about it? Oh, God, I got it. Imagine where you would hear somebody say, I got this text from a buddy of mine. I got this video. That will only happen if you guys take the step of doing videos just like that. It costs you nothing. So, and that's really the important thing that I wanted to cover with you guys.
Is that on your operational sheet?
The answer to that is,
hey, Ron, mute yourself, please. You mute everybody, Joe, at the same time?
I can mute. I got it. All right. I muted Ron. That way it's, yeah.
Thank you.
I was just on another page. So the answer to your question is, it's not on the operational sheet, but I can add it to it if you want. Then I can send it to you. Okay.
Yeah, because this is something I think is important, that probably should be Kendall or I, depending on who's in the store, after the sale. It's kind of like the, I guess we'll call it the exit strategy.
Yeah.
Of, after Cloudy is closed and the deal is done and people are super excited, that's the time to capture it. And we have more so than just phones. We have GoPros that we're starting to get, more used. They're higher quality, they're not as shaky.
Yeah.
But that's super, I think that's super powerful. When you give it to the customer and then they pass it on to their friend, and then if we post it on social media and there's a bunch of those, plus with, us filming our crew, like fixing something or an easy, how to replace a tube, because we've had people ask, oh, how do I do this? Hey, no, you know what? Why don't you go right onto our YouTube page and we have videos showing you exactly how to do it.
Then that's exactly, I mean, you and I both know, and I think everybody on the call will agree, there are thousands of YouTube channels that are showing people how to fix a tube. That is not the point. It needs to be your channel so that people look at you as the resource, and it also helps your Google search engine optimization. If you're pointing people to another channel to go find out how to fix it, or just telling people, hey, go to YouTube, and it's not your channel, you're effectively telling people to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not good.
No. So you might as well have the opportunity of the content on your channel to get you there and to get them back. So you're absolutely right. So yeah, I'm going to add the video, and I'm going to add the negotiation tactics of, after you confirm the price, what are the steps that you want to be able to take to be able to go, okay, operationally speaking, I want to be able to get 5-star Google review. I want to be able to get a written testimonial. I want your permission to put the written testimonial, the video testimonial, and the referrals all up on social media. And that just goes on to the one content wheel. that each spoke goes to Facebook, Instagram TV, Instagram Reels, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you have a TikTok account, I mean, you just repurpose it. It goes out. So awesome.
Yeah, I'm putting my employees on notice that you better come to work showered and looking all fresh, because there's going to be a lot of video we're taking soon.
Let me ask you this, Andy. Will people read an email if it's bigger, if they have to scroll it, or they'll just click on a button and watch a video?
I mean, path of least resistance. You know, the clicking on a video. I mean, I know for the younger generation, that's all it is. All my kids do is watch TikTok. Like, they click on videos, they scroll, more so than reading. I think if Kendall chimes in with this as well, I think our highly educated customer base, they do like to read some things.
Yes.
And that's why she and my mom are working on a blog that has good content. It's not just buy from us. It's like, it's actual content that how they can use their bike, you know, how other people are using the bike, stuff like that. And I think that's just like an important piece of the pie.
And I think what you're saying is, and this is the importance of good content, is storytelling is what really is captivating. Again, there's only going to be a small percentage of people that are going to be prepared to buy an electric bike at a given moment in time. What we want to do is we want to be able to have something that, as far as social media and or content, it needs to be good information that's shareable, purposeful, right, and valuable. If it's not shareable, purposeful, and valuable, people are just going to swipe. See you later. I mean, you want people to engage, and that's what's interesting about the texting. When you're texting to a friend, you're going to get high engagement because the open rate's 100%. So I come back to, I want to refresh your memories about the popcorn method. And you know, Andy asked the question, is this going to be in the operational sequence? When we use this dealer template, right, and you've gone through all your list of questions, and now you're going best first, and you're allowing Mr. or Mrs. Prospect out on a ride, and I want to make sure I'm sharing my screen here. When you go through this list of questions after you've gotten their initial contact information, because the goal is we want to close on the first visit, right? So after you've done the mini spin and I've got their test ride waiver filled, we know that, and by the way, once you've got the name and the test ride sequence on LeadCycles, once you have that done, you're going to be able to, you're going to know that the first email that they receive is, on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, how would you rate your experience with Pedego Naples or Pedego Marco Island? And what that does is it also helps increase your Google reviews by more 5-star ratings and so on and so forth. However, now that you've done that and you've got their information on your LeadCycles test ride waiver, which is great, follow-up is going to be done for you guys. You've still got to go through all these questions, and then you get to, based on what you just told me, here are 2 or 3 bikes that I believe are going to best fit your needs. And we go back to, you might not be able to see it up there, but it's best, better, good. It's always best first. Let them go on the ride. Here's the thing, guys. When we know that there's a lot of people coming in the door, right? I'm with, say, for example, I'm with Claudia right now, and all of a sudden, Maria walks in the door. Well, I can say to Claudia, who I was prepared to tell her, hey, just go ride around the block a couple of times and I'll see you in 5 minutes. I can tell Claudia, here's the deal. I want you to ride for 15 minutes. I want you to take off and go have a good ride. And I don't want you back here for 15 minutes, right? Have some fun with it. And off Claudia goes. And now I can deal with Maria going through the same process. First time here, how'd you hear about us? You ever ride a Pedego before? I go first. Then I get her on the bike. I grab her contact information. She goes, she comes back. I ask her, so what do you think? She said, oh, it's great. Do you want to take it? First of 5 times that I asked. The odds are she's going to say, well, I don't even know how much this costs. No sweat. This one here is $39.95. Some people might go, wow, that's expensive. Hey, thanks for letting me know how you feel. I'm curious, what exactly are we comparing it to? I don't know. no problem, right? So I'm handling the objection. Then it's, hey, let me ask you a few extra questions. Who's it for? Who else is going to use it? How are you going to use it? Where are you going to ride it? How long is your typical ride going to be? Are you planning on riding alone or riding in a group, which of course you're going to promote your group rides, right? Right here that you just told me about. And then finally, are there any physical issues that I know about, such as ankles, knees, hips, spine, heart, or lung? And then ultimately, I've only been with Maria at this point for maybe 5 minutes. I told Claudia to come back in 15. Now Kendall walks in the door. Well, now what I tell Maria is, I want Maria, take this bike, take off, and I don't want you back here for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to go deal with Kendall. And then I do the same thing with Kendall. I go through the whole process, right? It's cookie cutter. And then I tell Kendall, I want you to come back in 5 minutes. Now what's going to happen is Claudia, Maria, and Kendall are all going to return at the same time. And this is the key factor, guys. The goal of Army of One is to be able to have a system in place so that I can make sure that everybody returns at the same time. So all I need is one person to pop. That's the popcorn method. I mean, people have asked me, hey, Joe, how did you sell 27 bikes in 4 hours? Or how have you shown somebody to do it, 36 bikes or 41, which is the record, 41 bikes in 4 hours? It's exactly what I just told you. We take the template, we handle objections, we get people to leave for an extended ride, and we get everybody to come back at the same time. And if I get one person, so if in this case it's Maria, and I go, Maria, what do you think? Do you want to take it? And Maria says, yes, I'll take it. And I go, congratulations, Maria. Welcome to the Pedego family. Then I turn around and I announce to the rest of the people, hey, everybody, I just want you to know that Maria's chosen to pick up this bike. I'm just going to go and get a couple of things for her real quick, and I'll be right back with all of you. And I will remove myself and get out of the way. What do you guys think happens at that point? Kendall, what do you think happens at that point? You're muted. Everybody's muted but me.
They might start to talk to one another.
Thank you, Maria. Absolutely correct. Not only will they might, I can tell you that they'll actually, in my experience, because again, I'm a salesperson, right? Most people don't like salespeople. So at this point, we've gotten to a point where everybody's felt comfortable with us. They get to know us, like us, and trust us. They're going on rides alone. One of the number one reasons that people give you that they don't want to buy today is they want to go home and they want to think about it. Well, now when I leave people alone and they go for an extended test ride and they come back, and now Maria, you've just decided to buy a bike, and these other people have come back and they're seeing this. You're literally live social proof. Me, the salesperson, like that salesperson. No, I'm out of the way. So I'm going to remove myself. Now there's literally no pressure. But Maria, let me ask you this, seeing that you answered. When somebody buys a bike, and let's assume that they've been, whether it's their first visit or it's their second or third visit, it doesn't matter. When somebody buys a Pedego from you, when do they want it?
Now.
Exactly. So if you saw the video with Amy earlier, where she was like so excited and she's telling her friend Judy, hey, you got to come in and buy one of these bikes and you get one of these watches, and she's like all crazy excited. I can promise you, when you're out of the way and I've just congratulated you and I've removed myself, these other people can walk up to you and go, so you're buying one? If anybody goes up to Maria, who's just been congratulated for making the right decision on buying a Pedego bike, Maria is the most relentless salesperson around. And whether it's Maria or John or Paul or whoever, I'm giving the example that whoever bought the bike will sell more bikes for you. And so when you remove yourself, everybody else is going to be, okay. And then when you come back, because you left them alone, you come back and you go, so Kendall, Claudia, what do you think? You guys want to buy one too?
Absolutely.
The influence is so powerful because now they're seeing that, hey, if she can, so can I. this is what's beautiful about the process, guys, is that it gives you the opportunity to be able to step by step ask the appropriate questions, get people out on, again, step by step, get the marketing metrics, get their follow-up information early, ask often, allow people to leave, no pressure, get multiple people to come back at the same time, remove yourself, allow them to talk amongst themselves. You come back and you ask again to those who didn't make a decision yet. That will, when one pops, it's pop, 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 pop. Then everybody pops. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because now you'll be doing exactly what I told you guys what I was doing over at the G&G Fitness Midnight Madness sale. How did I get 4 people buying multiple products? I got 1 to go and the rest just followed suit. And that's what I want for you guys, because there's going to be times, it's inevitable, you're going to be understaffed. This is the way to be able to leverage. Why do 1 demo why do 50 demos, right, when you can do 1 demo to 50 people? That's the key. Leverage your time. So that's the beauty of the popcorn method. Does everybody understand how that works? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can tell you, practice it. The key factor here, and I really want to be like, it's not just asking the question to one of the people when it's a group. The key factor is getting people, like, being cognizant enough, being aware that's like, okay, I've got 4 people in the store right now. I got to get people out for, if it's 5-minute intervals, it's like, Andy, take off for 20. Maria, 15, right? Because it's going to take me about 5 minutes in between each. So instead of me focusing just on 1 customer at a time, Andy, I want you to go for a ride for 20 minutes. I don't want you back here. Here, go get a coffee. Like, whatever it takes for you to be gone for 20. This person 15, this person 10, this person 5, they all come back. 1 person pops, I remove. Hey folks, Andy's the one who's going to be buying a bike right now. I'm going to come back and check up on you guys too. Come back. So what do you think? And you'll see, you'll sell multiple bikes. And then again, once you've made the sale, then it's, all right, well, Andy, let's do a video together. And you can do a video with everybody. You'll be creating content like you wouldn't believe. It's a powerful tool. We talked a little bit about dealing with time vampires previously with I think Bob. I don't want to spend any time on Bob specifically, but I do want to share with you that the story of the fact that there is a way to be able to, when you have somebody who's a prospect in the store and they're waffling, it's okay to tell somebody, hey, you know what? My sense is that you're not going to be buying a bike today, and that's okay. Here's the thing, though. I've got other folks that might be buying today, and you guys could use COVID as a great reason for this. And due to COVID, I just want to make sure that I want to be able to give them the time because they're here, whether it's pardon me, through appointment or not. And ultimately, when you're telling someone after 20 to 30 minutes that they're not, like, your sense is that they're not buying today, here's what happens. A lot of people might say, oh, no, I'm buying today. That allows you to cut to the chase. If they're seriously not going to buy today, then pull out your calendar and go, hey, listen, you know, and I'll role play this one with Andy. It's like, hey, you know what, Andy, my sense is you're not buying a bike today, and that's totally okay, man. But there's a couple of ladies over there that are here that I want to go help them out because they might buy today, and ultimately that's what's going to help me continue to grow my business. But out of respect for you, what I'd like to do is be able to set up a time that maybe we can meet again so I can answer your questions. Or if you want, come with me and let's deal with these people at the same time. So you have an option. You're not telling them to get the F out of the store. You're either setting up an appointment or you're inviting them to come with you so that you can go deal with other people. But don't let the time vampire take up all of your valuable time when you've got other prospects that are potentially there to buy a bike today. So I like to say, my sense is you're not buying today, and that's okay. Why don't we set up a time that is good for both of us so I can answer all of your questions? I've got Thursday and Friday available. I've got free time at 2 o'clock on Thursday or at 4 o'clock on Friday. And notice that I didn't say what works for you, right? I'm telling them these are my available times. What's keeping no off the table? If you said, hey, well, would you like to set up an appointment where you can come back? You're putting no on the table. They could say no. So if I said, hey, I've got available time tomorrow and on Friday, right? I'm not asking them, do they want to? It's what are you choosing? Again, people don't want to be sold. They want to choose to buy. So I'm giving them a choice. So I'm going back to my notes here. Did I show you guys the Give Good Phone PowerPoint?
Yes, I think so.
I know that we talked about it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I just want to reiterate again, Giving Good Phone is asking the same series of questions, but you're just on the phone with someone. The first three questions right, remember, when somebody calls the store, Giving Good Phone isn't what are they asking when they're calling the store? How much do your bikes sell for? What do your bikes start at? If you're telling someone the price early on in a conversation, you haven't built value. So Andy, do you guys have your prices displayed on the bikes, or do you have, or do you just let people ask, or do you tell them later?
They are not displayed on the bikes.
If they were displayed on the bikes, do you think your sales would be as good?
I don't know, because I've never tested it.
Yeah.
Yesterday there was a call for Pedego, and they're doing, and I don't know if you probably haven't heard this because it just happened 2 days ago. We're aligning with a company called Ship Early that allows people to purchase online and then deliver through the store. So they could be coming in through the internet and anywhere on the internet. And then it's the corporate's way of delegating or kind of pushing the sales out into the local dealer.
That's great.
So one of the things is us having to make sure that we have our inventory updated with UPC codes for each bike. So I was thinking about, would it be, what would we do, or would we possibly put prices on the bikes, or at the very least put UPCs, a UPC sticker on the bike with a barcode to make it easier for the person checking somebody out. Like, that's really where I think we trip up a little bit, is the checkout time, and how we can speed that up to just a bunch of scans and then out the door. Well,
I think that's a great idea.
A bunch of scans and then the social media on their way out the door.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in stores where I've watched a two bike sale take 45 minutes to ring up, and to me, it's just like it's incredible. It's just that it's illogical. I've had people sit there with their black Amex cards, click on the counter because they just want to pay and leave. Right?
Yep.
So, yeah, we want to make sure that you can get the heck out of there. But the point of Giving Good Phone is you want to find out how they heard about you and have they ever been in the store.
Yeah.
So we tend to forget, because we can be busy in the store with a whole bunch of people, and all of a sudden the phone rings, and ultimately you should have an automated system that goes to voicemail, and that, hey, we're busy with people right now doing test rides. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll call you back. Please leave your name and phone number. Right? That's ultimately, because the person that is live and in the store should take precedence. Like in my world, that if you've attracted them to get in, drive over, or whatever, that's what's important. But if the phone rings, hello, fun, Pedego Naples. Yeah, what do your bikes start at? Because every customer sounds like that. Yeah, what do your bikes start at? So
the customers that are asking what the bikes start at sound like that.
And so I like to have fun with them, Andy. When I get the "what do your bikes start at" question, I go, well, they start at 0. And then when you start pedaling, they go 0.1 mile an hour, 0.2. And the faster you go, the higher they go. And no, the price. Oh, and then it's your first time calling us? Well, how'd you hear about us? Have you ever been in our store? You've never been in our store? You've never ridden a Pedego? Okay, wait a minute. Hey, listen, we gotta get set up a time for you. Pull out the calendar, right? Let's set up a test ride for you, because until you ride one, the price is going to be irrelevant. And how to handle that objection of how much? The answer is it depends. Right? We practiced this in the dojo recently with a couple of different dojo classes that I have, and in the sales objection system dojo. And when somebody interrupts you and says, "Well, how much?" I appreciate that you're interested in the price, sir. And the answer is it depends. Wouldn't you agree that you need to try these out so that you can get a sense of how they fit and what features are important for you? Because the truth is, guys, if you mention the price, you haven't had an opportunity to build the value of the Pedego. If I tell you, yeah, they start at $14.95, see ya. I mean, they can start at $5,000 and they start at $9.99. It doesn't matter. They need to get on the damn bike so that they can experience it. What's on bikes? Give good phone equals micro close, get an appointment. And before that, measure the calls. How many phone calls are you getting in? Andy, we were able to figure out at Fitness Depot that every time the phone rang, it cost us $33.
Wow.
It's expensive. It's what's your cost per lead, right? It's not just how much money am I spending on Google AdWords. It's asking people when they're coming in or in. And I can tell you, there are stores out there, and you know who they are. There are stores out there that if you call the store, for them, you might as well just be standing in the store. And they'll do everything they can to close you on the phone. So it's up to you. Using the same skill set, asking the appropriate questions. And if we don't ask, have you been in our store before? Like, how do you know it's not somebody who rented a bike months ago and now they're calling you? Because it happens, guys. And then you have an opportunity to sell them over the phone. Now, again, Andy, when I asked this, the rental customer, did I send you guys the rental script?
That I don't think so.
All right, we're going to get you that today. The rental script is important because a lot of dealers will do this. Somebody comes in for a rental, and I mean, you told me that Marco Island's going to be 60% of your rentals, your revenue in rentals. So when you consider the fact that you can transition somebody from a rental to a buyer. Sean from Pedego San Diego is a great example of this. He was doing 5 figures a month in rentals, just good money. But he wasn't transitioning people from renters to buyers. Like his sales numbers were really low, and he's like, Joe, I don't know what the deal is. And I was listening to him, and if you don't know Sean, he's a super nice guy. He knows a hell of a lot about the bikes. But the approach that he and a lot of other dealers have is that when somebody rents a bike, they're not asking questions. They're telling customers, and telling's not selling. Telling is not selling. Somebody comes back from rental and you tell them, hey, you know what, if you want, we'll take the cost of the rental and put it towards the purchase of the bike. And if you live out of state, we'll ship it to you absolutely free. That saves you $200. And because you're out of state, you don't pay any state tax. People just go, yeah, thanks. But I'll give you a script and I'll show you what, I might even have it up on here. Here we go. So what I've created is a rental script, and it's literally with a flow chart. So somebody comes in and they come back from a rental, and you have to ask questions. Hey, so how was your day? Oh, it was great. Did you enjoy the bike? Yeah, it was fun. It was awesome. Great. No issues at all with the bike? No, of course not. They're really reliable. Hey, I got a question. Can you imagine Andy riding one of these bikes back home? Wouldn't that be awesome? It's a yes or no question. If they say no, end the transaction, take their money, thanks for the rental, see you later. And LeadCycles will do an automated follow-up sequence for the renter who could later on potentially come back as a renter again because they're reminded. They're sent to TripAdvisor to give you a great review. And they're also asked to tell other people to refer them for your business, which is great. But when you ask them, hey, can you imagine riding one of these back home? Wouldn't that be awesome? And if they say, yeah, I can see that, then you put together an irresistible offer. So then you start asking, well, where did you go today? And imagine if I could apply the cost of the rental to the purchase of the bike. Would that interest you? It's not me telling you, hey, we can do this. It's me asking the question in the form of, it's me telling you, but in the form of a question and asking for the sale. And even in the sense of the state question. Like, Andy, what's state tax in Connecticut? Where you are?
Connecticut is 6.35. Florida is 7%.
So if somebody is from Connecticut and they visited you in Florida and you ship them the bike, do they pay any state tax?
There's a legal loophole there, but I think it's being closed. And they're going to have to pay tax either in my state or in their state. I believe if I'm shipping it from my store, if it's on my floor,
yeah,
I have to charge them the tax because they're not going to be responsible for paying that tax once it lands. If it gets shipped from California directly to them, I think it's a different story.
It is. It is.
You know, I think that's also why, again, back to the ship early situation, I believe that these legal tax loopholes are being closed, and that's why Pedego is doing this, so that they are not responsible for figuring out how to pay 50 different state taxes, and they're pushing it on to the dealers, where the tax will be collected with them. So at the very least, I think it's going to be 7%. You know, I don't know that it's a selling tool to say they don't have to pay the tax on it, because I think the government is really clamping down on internet sales like that.
Yeah. And so the truth is, you know, I don't blame them. I mean, Amazon was one of the first to have to pony up, but obviously they're selling for billions and billions of dollars, not trillions now. And so previous to this call, the loophole existed, and a lot of dealers were taking advantage of the loophole by simply saying, well, what are you paying in state tax? So ultimately, you can take this question and you can remove it from this, but you can still ask the question, if I could apply the rental fee to the purchase of the bike, would that interest you? And ultimately, what we want to do is create an irresistible offer in the form of a question. Because if we allow somebody to walk, and I've heard this before, you know, they're from a different area of the world, they come and visit your store, you've spent money to attract them into your place of business. They rent a bike, they have an awesome experience, and then they say to you, well, you know what, Claudia, I'll just buy it from my local dealer when I go home. I'll tell you what, the odds of them actually walking into a local Pedego store as opposed to another brand is very low. They could turn around and buy another bike, another electric bike. Wouldn't you agree, Andy?
Yeah, I've had it happen, and it's quite aggravating. And it wasn't for lack of trying to close the deal.
Right.
You know, this guy had rented from us for a month last year, and I was like, you know, happy to ship the bike. Literally bent over backwards for the guy, and he ended up buying from Pedego St. Louis, and then had the balls to have the bike shipped to me so I could put it together for him to keep down here. That's what really is what aggravates me about that, is because he ultimately is leaving the bike in Naples, but he bought it from Pedego St. Louis. And again, it wasn't for lack of asking, it wasn't for lack of following up. He's like, I'm just not ready to buy right now. I'm like, okay, I can understand that, you know, follow up a few months later. And then I was like, he buys the most expensive bike, Platinum Interceptor with mag wheels.
And so he buys that bike from St. Louis. Is that because he lives in St. Louis but also lives near you? Or did he go online and he just did a price?
No, so he owns a string of pancake houses in St. Louis. Yeah. And he has a winter home in Naples.
Okay.
So He has acknowledged a few times, that he bought the bike from there. But he hasn't exactly been like, I should have bought from you. So,
Right.
I don't exactly wholeheartedly embrace him. And I'm like, he's in business, right? He knows what he did. And there was no reason, because I was willing to give him a deal. I was willing to actually apply some of his month-long rental to the cost of the bike. And when I tell you, like, I sold him big time on it. It wasn't like I just let him walk out. I was willing to give him like $250 off of the purchase of the bike, which is half of a month's rental.
Yeah.
And he still ended up buying. And who knows? Because he said he got a sweet deal. So that could just be because he's embarrassed to say that he paid full price somewhere else and missed out on the deal, or maybe Bill over there at Pedego St. Louis, dropped his pants for the sale. We're not willing to do that.
And I wouldn't want you to do that. And unfortunately, I've never dealt with that location, but you and I both know there are some Pedego locations that will not adhere to a firm bike price policy. And some people will, again, this is a question of strategy. Some consumers will call around. They'll take the dealer locator and they're just going to call around.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why, again, it's important to, hey, it's your first time calling us. How'd you hear about our store? Have you ever ridden a Pedego before? That will unveil. If somebody's calling from, I don't know, Portland, and they're calling you, and it's like, well, it begs the question, why aren't you buying from your local retailer? Like, why aren't you buying from your dealer? And I've heard this be said before. Some people will say, I don't like that guy. Okay. That's
goodness.
That wasn't me, Lon. There we go. Hey, Ron, good to see you, buddy. And little people. All right. So I think it's important though that again, part of the rental transaction in this conversation, Andy, and again, we can discuss, philosophically, if you've spent money on attracting people in your place of business, I truly believe it's your obligation to close them on your Pedego bikes. They could be for somewhere else, but if they've rented from you, you have the opportunity to close. Now, what you can also do is you can also call the local retailer and go, and let's say it's Pedego Portland. It's like, hey guys, listen, I just want you to know I had somebody who lives in your hometown. They were in my store. They rented from me and I sold them a bike. We're going to ship them to you. And you could choose to do this. I did in the fitness business. And again, I didn't obviously have as many people coming in from out of town renting equipment, never mind, having a sandwich next door and just snooping around and taking up some of our time. But I have one example of a guy from Eastern Toronto, Pickering, Ontario. He came into my store. I sold him a couple of pieces of equipment. And he's like, you're going to ship it? And I said, yeah, I'll take care of it. But I called up another dealer in the area and I said, hey, this guy's name was Kamal, who's the owner of Continental Fitness. I said, Kamal, I've got a guy who bought a couple of pieces from me. Obviously, you need to do the install, and I'm going to give you a percentage of it. I mean, better for us to get some than none, but what's the context? I'm not going to sell something for like next to nothing, because there are some dealers that would say, hey, listen, I'm going to make $100 on this, but I'm never going to hear from this customer again. That's not the approach that I would personally take, because it always ends up being, maelstrom later on. You're going to have people that are going to be really ticked off because they're going to need service. And then if that guy from St. Louis bought it for $100 over cost, and you found out about it, Andy, would you be really willing to want to deal with this guy?
No, definitely not. That's something I will not drop the price. I was in the garbage business for 15, 17 years. And that was just a race to the bottom.
Right.
Instead of everybody working together, which is, I get collusion,
yeah.
In that particular industry run by the mob. But the fact is that when you continually cut your price, it shows that there's no value to the service.
Yeah.
And people are going to call around until they find the person who's charging them the least amount of money, and that's who they're going to go with. And that's not like something I want to get into.
No.
And,
Agreed.
I try to nip that in the bud. And for the most part, other than some online retailers of Pedegos that have since been not allowed to buy, almost every dealer that I know tries to keep integrity on the pricing. And that's one of the things that we say is that, you know, I can't really do much on the bikes. Like we're not supposed to sell for, I just blame it on corporate. It's corporate's policy that, you know, there's not a discount on that, but you know, we have other opportunities.
And it comes back to this, right? What kind of deal can you give me? You're firm on the bike price. So, hey, I appreciate that you're looking for a great deal. Even if it's over the phone, I can appreciate that you're looking for a great deal. What exactly do you have in mind? Can you come up with a solution that will allow you to get to the win-win? Because ultimately, if you come to that solution, then you can close the sale.
Right.
At holding margin. And remember, guys, I mean, just like there's a flow chart here on the rental sequence, there's a flow chart when it comes to handling objections. I mean, ultimately, it's, hey, listen, you know, I find that your product's really expensive. Well, thanks for letting me know how you feel. What exactly are we comparing it to? Yeah, it's not that I'm comparing it to anything. It's just that, you know, I just want to be able to go online and do a little bit of research. What that means is they want to go online and see if they can find it cheaper. So it's like, hey, you know what? I totally appreciate that you want to be well informed. What is it that you want to go research that you and I can get a chance to talk about today? You know what they're going to say? I'm not really sure. Cut to the chase. You say, Andy, let me ask you, man, before you go, is this about price? Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm getting the best price possible. I can appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly do you have in mind? So you will lead someone who says, I want to go home and do some research to this part right here. You can take somebody from, I want to go home and do some research, and you can get them without them saying that I want to get a deal. They're going to tell you, I want to go online and find a better price. Hey, I can appreciate that you're looking for a good deal, Andy. What exactly did you have in mind? And now you can start negotiating and close. Does that make sense? It's powerful. Yes. Yeah, it's absolutely powerful. And that needs to be practiced, guys. Great. I'm just going to I'm going back to my notes here. All right. So what, social media, Kendall, I want to share with you guys some social media hacks. Kendall, did I mention to you the importance of the blunt post?
The blunt post?
Yes.
No, you did not.
Awesome. Good. Let's talk about a blunt post.
Does this have anything to do with them using Snoop Dogg as a
Hell yeah.
Where are we going with this, Joe?
You're good to hear, man. No, but that's good. I like that. The benefit of the blunt post. This is something that the benefit of the blunt post is that when in Kendall, I mean, you're going to be the one who's going to be doing this. By doing a blunt post, you are being specific to your target audience. So you could put it in writing where it would be something like, looking for couples in their 50s interested in having fun and adventure.
Oh, dear.
Careful, Maria.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I don't know where your mind went just now, but I'm going to back up a little bit and I'm going to rephrase my blunt post because
Does this involve a
you.
GoPro or a webcam? Okay,
Yeah,
which one? Which camera?
All right, so it'd be like looking for couples in their 50s who want to go and ride an electric bike.
There we go.
Specific. So the idea of the blunt post is, in a very small post, you could have a picture of people, and you could be specific in terms of who you want. You could be, looking for people who want to go on a group ride and then go for a beer, something like that.
So kind of like, if something along the lines of like a lot of like smaller launches do, and they'll do like kind of like a giveaway, but it's like, are you in the Naples area? Do you enjoy having fun? Are you into the active, healthy lifestyle? If so, are you free this Thursday? Comment below, reach out to us, something like that, essentially. Because I don't want to discriminate on the age, because I actually have noticed, I I actually think that, like, from what I'm seeing, just personally living in Naples now, the younger, and I mean not the younger, the older 20-year-olds in the mid 30s,
Yeah.
they're the type of people that have the financial ability to spend money and not really care what they're spending it on.
Sure.
So I wanted to also, because I thought, I was like, the more, especially with like the Element coming out and more of them, I'm also, I don't want to completely discriminate, but I do like doing some posts specifically based on, you know, older couples and everything. That's a great idea.
There's nothing stopping you, Kendall, from doing a blunt post specific to another age category. That's the beauty of it. You know, organically speaking, you are at best going to get, at very best, 3% of the people that are following you to see any post.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you've got 1,000 followers, that's 30 people. Like it's not a lot of eyes without boosting up your posts, right? So the idea though is by being specific in a blunt post, and you can do blunt posts realistically as often as 3 times a week. Again, if somebody's following your content, and you know this, Kendall, better than anybody, I would imagine, probably even better than me, because I only learned this from my coach, who's a social media expert, is when you're doing a blunt post, you'll get engagement and reaction. Like, I can tell you that I've got 520 followers on Instagram, and yet through blunt posting this year alone, I've created $25,000 worth of revenue. Like, I've got like a very little following, and it doesn't matter. I've been able to create sales due to blunt posting. So I know it works. It's just a question of how often that I do it, and then who am I targeting? So I've done. Go ahead, Kendall.
Oh, I'm just saying, I'm looking back at some of our stuff that we've done in the past, posting wise, because recently, like I was talking about it, I wasn't able to do a lot because we were transitioning into new things. But one thing that we all did notice is that the picture of Claudia and our whole entire group pictures, like stuff that have to do with us, as well as what you said with blunt posting, it's done well. So like the last picture of our whole entire team, like in the workshop hanging out, we reached over 1,000 people. And we had over 64 people actually engage and click on that post.
So the hack that I just want to share with you is, obviously, you know, audit your posts. Go to Instagram when you and just to see whether it's wherever the platform that is going to matter the most. You want to see how well it's doing so that you can use it again.
Yep.
But the idea of a blunt post, like I'll put out for the SOS Dojo, I'll say, for example, are you in sales and you want to be able to double your sales in as little as 30 minutes a week? ? Direct message me for more details of the Sales Objection System Dojo. That's it. Once I get direct messaging, then the goal for me is to get off the damn phone. My goal is, and it should be the same for you, you get somebody to DM you, but then you say, hey, let's set up a call. And you can use Calendly, or you can just give them your phone number and set up a call. I use Calendly so that I get confirmation of an appointment. Did I send you Calendly already, Andy?
I believe you did, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's free, which is like awesome. And you get the blunt post first, you get people to respond, you tell them, hey, set up an appointment for a call or come in the store, and you'll make sales. I mean, if I can do it with 520 people on my Instagram following alone, you'll be able to create more than that. You just got to be consistent with it and set up a schedule. And Kendall, I'm sure you already know about scheduling for social media.
Yeah, I mean, we did Hootsuite a lot, is what I'm used to. But there's also, like, you know, Facebook has the scheduling option. That's kind of something I'm transforming into and trying to figure out what's going to be best for, you know, my schedule and having the 2 stores now.
I'm currently using Social Powerhouse. I mean, it's costing me $10 a month. But there's and what's great is you can get a virtual assistant to do all the posting. There are people that are actually, the virtual assistant is answering the direct messages from blunt posts for you.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't have the time to quickly answer direct messaging. So I can have somebody else do it for me and say, hi, this is Mitra on behalf of Joe. He's not available at the moment. Why don't we set up a call with Joe, right? It's great.
Yeah. Well, MailChimp kind of has that option too now, I've learned.
Okay. All right. Anyways, I just want to share the idea behind social media hacks, because you want to be able to get people, like I just talked earlier, on video, and you want to be able to get people to engage. Currently, right now, Andy and everybody who's currently in Florida, what are you guys doing for networking outside of the store?
Right now it's a fat 0 for me.
Okay.
And that's mainly because I've spent the last 8 months trying to develop our team.
Yeah.
And focus on the team. And it's part of the reason that we're doing this. But I know that I've gotten to the point where I can back up and start focusing more on events. Myself and Kendall being the ones going out and driving more business in. One of the things that I wanted to do besides the group rides was to go directly to subdivisions and do demonstrations. I have opportunities to get involved in local Chamber of Commerce stuff.
Brilliant.
I have one of our ambassadors is actually in network marketing, and they have lots of resources to connect into other businesses, that we can synergistically work together. And that's all 100% on me. And that's something that I'm going to be working on after these calls.
Yeah, so, there's a thing that says, your net worth is equivalent to your network.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's something to be said. And you know who really is a great networker within the Pedego landscape is Tom Bach. And just giving you an example of what I learned from him actually is he would go to, whenever you go to a restaurant, and I know COVID's changed things for the moment, but there's going to be a time where COVID's going to be gone, or people are just going to be like sick and tired of all of this, and they're just, we're going to go back to whatever the new normal is going to be. Mm-hmm. One of the things about going to a restaurant, which is really interesting, that Tom does really well, is he'll tip the server, and then he'll also say, by the way, you know what? Here's a free rental card for our place of business. It's worth $20 or $30. You got to come in and try this out. And in that context, now what you're doing is you're getting somebody who is, somewhat of a social person, and they get to have an experience in your location. And what do you think somebody in a bar or restaurant is going to tell other people? Especially if they have a Pedego Naples experience. And what does it cost you? A rental?
Yeah.
It comes back to butts on bikes. It's all about butts on bikes. So I like the idea of when you're networking and doing that idea of, hey, I'm going to a restaurant, here's a free rental. If you're going to go to networking events, Andy, one of my tricks that I learned from a really big mentor of mine in the past was don't go in with the intention of doing the Las Vegas shuffle with your business card, right? It's like,
yeah, no.
You go in and you want to meet one person. And Kendall, you talk about the idea of meeting the influencer online. It's the same thing. Who's the influencer at the Rotary, at the BNI meeting, at the Chamber of Commerce? Connect with them and get them on a bike. What do we need to do to be able to get them to get on a bike? Because that one person will, spiderweb off to so many other sales. And it comes down to experience. And so I'll give you an example real quick. I was in Pedego Aiken with Coker Day. We went over to a hotel. The hotel manager was a woman in her mid-60s, really nice lady. And we showed up well-dressed for the occasion. We didn't show up in like shorts and flip-flops. And the reason that we were doing this networking was we wanted, because everybody who went to this particular boutique hotel was a high-end client. And Coker wanted to get more of these people to come in and rent bikes. And this hotel manager had no idea what a Pedego was, let alone what an electric bike was. And at first, the reaction that she had was exactly like everybody else. I'm not dressed for this. When we came in dressed, well-dressed, dress pants, dress shoes, and I said, you know what? Just for fun, right? Just for fun, I'll go first. I went on the bike. I came back and I said, you try it. So she got on the bike, right? And she's wearing, business attire as a hotel manager would. She got on the bike. When she got off the bicycle, she ran into the hotel and invited all of the staff to come try this bike out. And Coker and I were like all giggly about it because it's exactly what you want to happen. So you could set up a meeting with somebody, Andy, at a networking event and say, hey, you know what? I'd love for you to come and visit our store, and we'll go out for a coffee and go out for a ride with them. And even if they show up in a full suit, you could be, I would go that far. I would go, hey, if I know that there's like a guy who's like an accountant or whatever, and I know he's fully connected with people, I'll be dressed in such a way where it's like, come on, man, I'm dressed similarly like you are. Let's go anyways. They're electric bikes. You'll see what I mean. Because the goal is butts on bikes. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
I do that with our bankers.
Nice.
I actually tell them if they want to talk to me that they need to ride the bike. I don't care that you're in business casual.
Yeah.
And they love it. They actually come and visit us just to go for rides. And eventually, I'm sure one of them will buy.
I 100%, man. Totally agree.
So I would do that. And I encourage everybody to have business cards on them. So when you do go out to eat, I was going a lot out to different bars and bartenders and giving them cards. Yeah. And then I became a bit of an alcoholic, so I had to dial that back a little bit because I enjoyed that part a little too much.
Yeah.
But it's a good way because when people are coming into town and they meet a friendly bartender, like, hey, what's there to do around here? Hey, there's an electric bike shop. Like it's people that are bird dogging for you. And that's just, it's kind of, we've had to obviously kill that because of COVID, but Florida is much more liberal about all this and is basically wide open. And so it's good for us because we can get back out there and start getting back in the trenches and getting other people, selling for us, directing people our way. Yeah.
And you know who is great at that? Handing out business cards, talking to people about Pedego. Your father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He did that constantly in restaurants. Constantly. Yep.
Yeah. I do it too, not to the extent that he did, but yeah, I mean, it's a good way to find employees too. Really, a big go-getter, a really good server, that it's not the healthiest environment to be in. They make pretty good money, but they get burnt out.
And if they have that bubbly personality that you're looking for, like a Claudia, like a Kendall, like a Ron, who is, happy people, they're good with people, then this is how we went. Another reason why Fitness Depot went from 7 stores to 38 in 18 months. I mean, yes, we had a sales template. Yes, we practiced handling objections, and we were relentless in our approach to follow up. But we also were always, especially in your position, Andy, those of us that had ownership, we were constantly working HR. Human resources is the backbone of your business. You said it, right? Networking's taken a little bit of a back seat because right now we're building the team. Smart move. So I applaud you for it. Now what you want to do is you want to be able to go, okay, where would I find the right people to work with, this context that we built over the last several calls. What I used to do is again, this is back, 20 plus years ago, I would go into a mall and I'd go into clothing stores. And then I would ask, I say, so are you happy working here? Like if I met somebody who was really good, say, are you happy working here? If you had an opportunity to work in the fitness industry, would that something you'd be interested in? Right? So then the same thing, you're like right now, the electric bicycle industry is in such demand. You're in a position of power. It's like, would you love to be able to come into a place where you're having fun with people, you're making a difference in their lives, and there's a huge financial opportunity in it? Because there is. I mean, people are buying, look at the inventory issues that we've had in the last 8 months.
Right.
There's a demand. So, I mean, I think it's a great idea. You're on the ball here. I want to come back. I talked about the importance of congratulating somebody, not only when they make the buying decision, where it's like, all right, so if I could do this, you want to do this now? Yes. Congratulations. And whether it's congratulations or elbowing or toe tapping because of COVID, I get it. But then when you take somebody's money at the till, did I give you that example already where I took somebody's credit card? I've been training so many people, I'm losing my mind. So Andy, I'm just going to go back and repeat it anyways. You're probably going to get this situation where, let's say you sell a bike and you've done all of the accessories to go along with it. So, and I want to share screen here and make sure that you guys are on it. So you guys have seen these examples of these different quotes, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys had the chance to build your quotes? It's on my list here for you guys.
We're working on it. You know, we are bouncing back and forth between a good, better, best.
Yeah.
You know, where we have this list of, you know, basically like our what we're calling a gold, silver, and bronze package. Like this is, you know, what you get with those packages, and inside of it has, you know, different priced accessories where people can just be like, yeah, I want the gold standard. But is that going to get confusing? And then, you know, go back to basically take the models and have a list of things of must-haves, good to have, and then like goodies at the bottom of it.
Ultimately, the benefit of having the quotes prepared is that it gives us as salespeople, it gives us, you know, Confucius say bad handwriting better than good memory. So if I have it in front of me, okay, so here's what people will typically get with what you're purchasing. And I get to go through the whole list, and the customer can say, I don't want that. Not a problem, we'll scratch it off. Right? So what kind of deal can you give me? The first step is taking that quote and saying, hey, you know what, Andy, I totally appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What items off of my quote that are we going to take off so we can save you some money? That way I'm holding margin. That's your first go-to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then if somebody is going to push you for the deal, you go, no, I want a discount. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that you're looking for a good deal. What exactly do you have in mind? And if they're in your realm of possibility, congratulations, deal is done. Now you walk to the till, and you know the customer is going to give you their credit card. This is critically important. And again, this is all about human psychology. So, Andy, typically what we hear in the store is if I give you my credit card and you say, okay, Joe, that your boomerang with all of your accessories comes to $61.98. And here's your card back. What do you typically say to me?
Thanks for your business.
Right.
But we're saying congratulations now.
Correct. Because typically you would be saying, hey, thank you very much. But now when you say, hey Andy, that comes out to $61.97 and 23 cents. Here's your card back, and once again, congratulations, welcome to the Pedego family. We're going to say thank you. You, the consumer, is going to say thank you to me for taking your $6,197.23, and I am reinforcing the fact that you've made an excellent decision. After the sale is made, guys, this is where, again, it becomes policy where you will now, okay, I'd love to take a quick video in front of you and your new bike, and it'd be like, all right, so I'm standing with Andy Bertel, the newest owner of a Platinum City Commuter. Andy, why did you buy this bike? And you go over it. Excellent. Well, Andy, we appreciate you. And once again, congratulations. Welcome to the Pedego family. Then the next video is you're going to do selfie mode. And it's going to be, Andy, can you name 2 people that would love to try out this Pedego bike? And then you send that over to Andy, and then Andy sends that over to his people. That has to be the process because you're building social proof, and you're going to build on new leads that cost you nothing to get, which are still birds of a feather that flock together. I know I'm repeating this, but guys, this is an opportunity to literally double your business. I've had a couple of stores say to me, Joe, that one idea alone has literally helped us double our leads. Well, if you're doubling your leads and you can improve your closing ratio, you can double your business just with that one.
Yeah. No, that's a big one, because just like the Pedego doubling down on the ambassador program, it's our biggest, most successful advertising is always word of mouth.
Awesome.
Always.
Terrific. So I'm going to go back to my handy dandy. Any questions?
No, I just wanted to make a comment.
Yes.
In that one of our most difficult customers, who happens to be from Canada, Joe, just saying, he and his wife are our best salespeople. When they are in the store, which is constantly, and they see people looking at bikes, they sell them for us.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. And you know what? It leads to the next piece, actually, that I wanted to discuss with you. That's a great segue. In fact, I want to share my screen because you guys are seeing where I'm going with my with the content here. So I wanted to discuss with you guys about follow-up events and appreciation. So we just said about congratulating, photos, videos, permission to post. I'm going to jump over to follow-up events and appreciation. And these are the things that we want to do after the customer has bought the bike. So one of the things that you want to do after the customer has bought the bike is you want to fill out your LeadCycles buyer form. So the buyer form should be on your desktop or near your point of sale. So here's an example of the Fort Collins buyer form. You would just, have the link, you would click on it, it would open up the page, and then you would just simply fill out the person's first name, last name, what did they buy, their phone number, and email address.
Claudia does that. Every sale. After we register, then they go into the buyer form and fill out the buyer form.
To me, this is the no-brainer of no-brainers, so that's awesome. Okay? Then after that, I would encourage you, again, there's an email that's already sent out from LeadCycles congratulating them on their purchase. Something that you could consider doing is sending out a card, an old school card in the mail. I use a service that's called Send Out Cards. You may have received something from me before, Andy, but if you haven't, I promise you guys will. Like, no surprise. I like to send people sometimes brownies or cookies or something like that, and it's just a small token of appreciation. The saying goes that appreciation wins over self-promotion every time. So instead of telling people, this is on sale, come buy this, get 10% off, that just turns people off. If I sent you a card where it's like, hey, Maria, I just want to let you know how much we appreciate you and we want you to really enjoy your bike and we look forward to seeing you soon in the miles and miles of adventure that you have to come. And that's it. It's, nothing about come back in, blah, blah, blah. It's just we look forward to seeing you and appreciating you. So, and you can use sendoutcards.com or you could use Banner Season. Or if you want, I find it kind of challenging, but you could have a stack of paper and actually do it by hand. I use an automated service that they print it, they put it in the U.S. Postal Service for me with an actual stamp, and it will actually show up at the person's home or place of business in the mailbox, like delivered by an actual human being, like paper. And the old school, the majority of our target customer, when they receive a letter in the mail, is very heartfelt. Like an email can get deleted, and that's great. It's email marketing, but when you're sending out something personalized, it goes a long way.
What were the two services?
I'll send you the links to them. Send out cards. I'll send out cards in Banner Season.
Okay.
I've been using send out cards myself since 2007. I've recently heard about Banner Season in the last couple of years. I've got some friends of mine that use it, but they're both good. And yeah, I'll put it this way, Andy. One of the tricks that I do is like all of my holiday cards, they're already done. Like, so when Christmas time is coming, it's already done. Yeah, the company, and it's done in my handwriting, and everybody, like, I've got over 500 greeting cards that are going to go out. but I don't have to sit there and do it and like spend 2 days doing that. No. It's done on here. I do it on my computer. It's my own handwriting. It goes out. It's printed. It's stuffed. It's stamped. They do it for me. And nobody.
Joe, my mom is going to text me after this and say that was worth whatever we just had to pay for that to now have that nugget of Christmas card.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Maria, I'll show you. For me, send out cards is a godsend. And I've had people who, I'll set you guys up. I've got other stores that are using it. They love it. But again, it's what are you going to do to separate yourself from others, right? And I like the idea of sending out a card, and it's very heartfelt. The other thing that I like to do is send out or is do a phone call 10 days later. And you just have this in your calendar. So what you would do is you fill out the registration, you put in the buyer form, and then you put it in your calendar, whether it's your calendar on your phone or your calendar on, and it becomes a thing to do that day, an urgent task. Hey, I've got to call up all of the people that bought 10 days ago, and it's a 2-minute call. So you frame the call. I would call and it'd be like, let's say I'm calling Ron, and Ron answers the phone. It's like, hey, Ron, it's Joe over at Pedego, Naples calling up. I just got a couple of minutes, and I want to just reach out and just check how things are going. What do you need? How are you enjoying your bike? Getting some rides done? Yeah. Well, great. Listen, I just wanted to make sure that everything was great. I want to remind you that you've got a free tune-up in the next X amount of, whether you say hours, months, mileage, and just making sure that you're enjoying your bike. That's the only reason for my call. That's it. Have yourself a great evening. The 60 seconds to 120 seconds, or even if you get to shoot the shit with somebody over the phone, it gives you that opportunity to build and cement the relationship. And if somebody's going to spend $6,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 on 1 or 2 bikes with you and accessories and so on, a small token of time goes a long way with people. And you just got to make it a question of, I've got to put it in policy, right? What's the process after somebody buys? And so this one phone call, it can make a difference. Now, I've had some stores, if you remember, some stores wouldn't call people because they're afraid that people have a problem with their bike. That is not the right attitude. The right attitude is, hey, just checking in. How's the bike going? Getting out for some rides? And if somebody says, yeah, there's a clicking noise on my bike, hey, you know what? That's actually good news. That means that things are starting to break in. Bring your bike back in, and we'll give you the free tune-up. We probably just need to adjust the derailleur. It's an opportunity for you to step up to the plate and show that the service, that the value that they get from you is there. And that's why people are buying from us.
Right.
Right?
To be delighted.
Absolutely. And remember, like, I'm thinking of this out loud, and I'm digressing real quick. It's that when somebody says the objection of, I can buy this online for cheaper. You know what? Acknowledge, ask the question. I really appreciate the fact that you're doing your research. Let me ask you, how important is local service to you? Because sometimes there's their price question, and we're going to build value, as opposed to saying, well, if you buy it online, you're not going to be able to get service, and now I'm getting all defensive, which comes off as offensive to them. So for me, the answer is, hey, you know what? Acknowledge the person. Andy, I totally appreciate that you've been doing your research. That's great. I'm curious, how important is it for you to have local service? Of course it's important. And that's my tact, is I'm going to ask the question so that they answer it for themselves. All right, so I'm just going over my list of things here on our, bear with me, guys. So I've already sent you this, Andy. These are just suggestions post sale. I will send you examples of send out cards and banner season you guys can look over. And Maria, if you have questions on that, I'm happy to help you build campaigns. Honestly, like it's a great tool.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, I wrote about it in my first book. boutique thinking in a big box world, and it's my belief that it really does make an impact. So again, you congratulate, photos, videos, permission to post. You fill out the buyer form. You do a follow-up call, follow-up card, and gift. What are some of the events that you could do that are appreciation? Have you guys done an appreciation event?
No, my dad really wanted to do one, and we were going to do like a DJ and food truck, and work on an actual event, but COVID.
I got you.
It's something that we do want to do.
Right.
Pedego does the Pedego Palooza,
right,
which would be great if we could get involved in that. But again, this is like it's frowned upon to have a gathering of many people, which is the complete opposite to what we try to do, to get people buying because of a buying frenzy. So starting out with the group rides, which is socially distant, is one of the things we're going to do. We're involved in a after Thanksgiving event with our local bike advocate, the Naples Pathway Coalition. So that's a huge opportunity for us. In the past, there's been 300 to 400 riders in this event, and in the past, it used to start and end at a park. But because they can't have all these people, they have solicited all the local bike shops to be pit stops. So we now have, and we are going to be, thankfully, because there's like 5 different shops that are involved. We're considered in the loop, which means all 3 rides, 15, 30, and 60, are all going to come through our shop because they have to take a picture to show that they were at our shop and, like post it to NPC's social media. So we're going to absolutely capitalize on that by having, a captive audience that they're doing this, is to be able to capture their name and phone number and email. So, we're going to have a swag table, giveaway stuff, just to be memorable and to get people to come back, like handing out our business cards with the free ride on it. 300 people coming through that are getting free rides. I can't believe that's not going to be. We'll be able to turn 5% of those people into buying customers.
And the thing to say to these people that are currently, they're already riders, is it may not be for them. It's okay to say, hey, folks, sir, ma'am, this might not be for you, but who do you know who? 5 words. Who do you know who that would love to be able to get back on a bike and keep up with you? Who do you know who that would love to take a bike to work instead of take a car? Right? And so it's not just the cyclists that we're after. I think that there's this growing opportunity for who do you know who. So, and I think that's great, man. And this is where, when you look at this point here, promoting and following up with more birds of a feather, as it were, this is where we use the phone, get that, creating those videos that are personalized, and remembering that each and every one of you are a brand within the brand. In other words, hey, Claudia, are you there?
Alive.
I'm sure she's alive. Claudia, can you unmute yourself for a sec?
Oh, I forgot to put the
No problem.
Here.
You've got customers there?
No. I'm going to the store now.
Okay.
I will drive.
I was going to ask you very quickly, Claudia, how many people have you had since you've been working at Pedego Naples come back and ask for you when they want to deal with somebody in the store? Have they ever said, is Claudia here?
I have many.
Yeah.
Many. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because you are a brand. Claudia is a brand within the Pedego Naples brand. And the fact that people are coming to ask for you is a testament of how good a job that you do. And that's the point. We want people to say, hey, is Claudia here? And ultimately, when you've done a great job as a salesperson and you've been showing people value, other people are going to want to ask for you by name. And so it's not just about the Pedego brand, it's about the Pedego Naples brand, and it's also about brand me. It's about brand you. And like I said before, appreciating your customers when you're doing little things like a follow-up call, a follow-up card and gift. Appreciation wins over self-promotion every time. And Andy, you talked about Easter eggs, kind of like in the Marvel movies. You made reference to it of the French fry effect. Right? We want to be able to have those extra fries at the bottom of the bag. That is the feeling that that's why I say, like, we want to be able to create those Easter egg moments. And that could be done from a variety of ways, whether it's acknowledging somebody on a post on social media, right? Just acknowledgement, coming back to player A game, all the way back. It's, making sure that you delight the customer after they've even given you money. And follow-up events and appreciation can be as easy as group rides, like you mentioned. And acknowledging that, hey, you know what? This person does a great job for us as an ambassador. Just acknowledging people. Those people, when you acknowledge someone who's already promoting you, they're going to do more of it. Some people just be stroked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to that, like, what would be a possible, just spitballing something like a step and repeat, right? So we have 2 exits out of actually we have 4, but 2 real exits out of our building. And, if we funneled people out through our rental area, which we could have what would be considered a step and repeat there, where there's like already a camera set up and people like step behind the camera, they feel like royalty, right? As they're walking out the door, they have like our Pedego logo behind them, and they get a quick video of them, and then we step into the video, something like that, where they're walking out of the store like floating. Because
okay, Andy. Okay, Andy, I see you and your ideas. Okay, snap.
Yeah. The fact that I know what a step and repeat is, how about that?
Nice.
So something like that, like, because that's what keeps people coming back, is like when they feel like they've been treated better than anybody else has.
That's great. Yep. I love it. And that's how you're going to grow and scale your business. It's having systems in place that are literally repeatable. The goal of all of these calls, everybody, was to be able to put systems in place, but also be authentic in our approach. I've given you a foundational template that you can edit, and then there's tools along the way that I know for a fact that you're going to be able to get a ton of value from. But it's like anything else, application, it's like knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is really how you turn around and use that to your benefit. I'd like to do the video to Dawn and the team at Pedego Corporate in this section right now. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah. What do you need us to do?
So I'll edit it. Well, I'll get it edited. So I'll take the end of our call here, and I'm going to ask, before I do this, I want brutal honesty. If you guys learned something, if you had fun, you felt it was value, I'll go around and ask everybody. And basically, I'll say, hey, hello, Dawn, Tom, Cassidy, and Wendy. It's Joe Marcoux here with the team from Pedego Naples. And then I'll go around the room. And with your permission, everybody, I'd like to be able to put this up on my social media after as well. I practice what I preach. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Some people probably, hopefully, haven't put their faces on
the
yet.
volume. How do I put the volume? I can hear nobody.
Can you hear us, Claudia?
No, I very, very low. I don't know what I did when I was driving. How I put back the volume?
Just your volume button on your end.
Huh?
It might be everybody else hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some weird reason, the same thing happened to me when I pulled my earphones
Okay.
out.
Okay, now.
You're okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's so we'll just ring it and we'll go for it. In 3, 2. Hey, Don, Tom, Cassidy, and Wendy, it's Joe Marcoux here. I'm actually on a training call with the team from Pedego, Naples, and soon to be Pedego, Marco Island. We've got Andy and Maria Bertel. We've got Claudia. We've got Ron and Kendall. Everybody say hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, so guys from the Pedego Naples team, Andy, I'll start with you. We've been on 5 training calls over the last few weeks. How's everything gone? What are your thoughts?
I really appreciate the way in which Joe has approached this. He comes with specific knowledge, which is really helpful to us, not just sales, but specific Pedego sales. It's been a great team building event for us. The information that we've been given has been kind of invaluable. It's allowed us to kind of streamline some of our processes, get better at some other things. And, some of the conversations that we had within here were completely unexpected, but will build value and, it will come directly into dollars in our till, without a doubt.
That's one of the things that I really enjoy about doing this type of training, Andy, is that, some of the conversations were completely, it's always off the cuff. Every time I do an Army of One sales training with a group, I always learn something new because, this dynamic group is throwing questions at me and we end up coming up with solutions that you can apply to your business immediately. Have you found that that's been the case this time around?
Yeah, every single call, 5 calls, we've had more than one particular thing that's come out of that.
Right on.
If nothing else, networking connections into other opportunities for us to sell more bikes.
Sweet. That's great.
Which to me is invaluable. It's worth way more than just a bike, but not too much more.
So in your opinion, then, and I'm going to ask around the room, your opinion, Andy, as a business owner, do you feel that you got value from this training and that other Pedego stores would get value from this as well?
Yeah, I mean, I know that Pedego allows their dealers to be independent, but this is almost something for a new dealer that should be 100% required. Because there's stuff that we've covered that Pedego could never, ever have the reach to do, nor do they want to.
Right.
It's something that the way that it's happening organically and allowing us to be able to deal specifically with one person and be able to hone in and really hammer down directly into our store is invaluable. And that's something that translates into dollars down the road.
Right on.
And, for seasoned dealers, and for new dealers, but I think it should be required for new dealers because there's stuff that a lot of our dealers are not bike necessarily shop owners. They came from the finance industry. They came from not the retail industry. My family came from a service industry. This has been 100%, just different, totally different. And it's been a great challenge, but it's not something like I'm used to. So having this training and certainly the neural linguistics and the way that you say things and the way that you set up sales, like I said, I keep repeating the fact that it's invaluable. And for the amount of money that it costs for us to do this, to have somebody that's been doing this for 20 plus years, 25 plus years, you pay for experience, right? And I think it's much more valuable for us to pay you for your mistakes that you've already made.
Yeah.
Coming to us, and that's what experience is. That's what you pay for experience one way or another. It's either going to cost you money or you're going to go to college and pay to learn something. And there's nothing worse than losing money because of a stupid mistake that could have been avoided just by linguistics. The way that you say something is, the way that you set up a sale. That's why I say for new dealers, it's almost more important for new dealers, because if they start the good habits right away, then it's not hard to break them. It's not hard to break your employees of saying things that if they just said it in a different way, it wouldn't have cost us money.
The outcome would be more positive. And the way that I look at it is I call it time collapsing. You know, if I can take 35 years of retail experience and we could apply it in literally, you know, 4 or 5 or 6 2-hour calls like this, where you guys get to walk out with some golden nuggets that are going to have an impact on your outcome, then we've accomplished it. And to Pedego's benefit, you know, they're subsidizing it so that, you know, if you're delighted with the training, Don, Tom, Cassidy, Wendy are giving you credit towards a platinum. I mean, everybody wins.
Yeah. I, like I said, I can't say enough good things about it. You know, the being able to adjust to the Zoom, you know, in this current state is beneficial for us because we have 6 people on the call, and you know, we're operating a business, and for you to be able to cut it down instead of a high intensity 3 days, which this for us, I think this is better. I would do this again without a doubt, because the time that we're not together is also just as important as the time we are together. Kendall and I brief after this. I talk with the employees, how it went, what they think is different, and you don't necessarily have that in a compressed format. You know, we come up with ideas, and then we bring it back into the session, and you know, we work on stuff that's specific for us. You know, it might be different for Pedego Aiken, Pedego Alpharetta. You know, they have maybe not as many employees. Maybe they have more employees and they have more of an employee issue than they do a customer issue. You know, we all have different business stressors that need to be dealt with. And, you know, Joe's experience has been amazing for us.
Andy, do you think, and for everybody else on the call, do you think that what you've learned today is going to help you scale, especially when you're going into Marco Island and potentially other locations?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, because I plan on taking these videos and packaging them into a new employee recruitment. Like this new employee doesn't hit our floor until they've watched these, and then we can talk about them, because like I said, it's invaluable. The stuff that they're going to learn that I don't have to repeat because we've already been through it. That's a huge value to us. And you know, going forward, everybody now all has the same knowledge as I do. You know, we've all been sitting through these calls. We all have, you know, everybody in their own, everybody has their value that they bring to my business, and it creates our business, not just my business.
Right on.
You know, so they all have different experiences, and everybody in their own way is really good at tweaking things to work for us. They have the knowledge on the floor, and they're like, hey, you know, Joe said this, or what do you think about that? What if we tweaked it like this? And I'm like, that's fantastic, because there's not enough hours in the day for me to think of everything, you know, and I don't want to be the micromanager. Honestly, I'm much more of a macro manager. I don't want to be standing behind you. I want you to take this and run. That's what makes this work, is to give people independence to make the right decisions.
If you're going to scale a boutique style store, your goal has to be in that. I'm looking at things at 30,000 foot view, because otherwise you're exactly there. You're going to always be in the business. There's no way you're going to be able to work on it. And these things that we've talked about are definitely going to be able to help you. Hey, Kendall, what are some of the biggest takeaways that you got from this training you want to share with everybody?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. So honestly, I thought everything went absolutely great. I personally just love the energy that our team got after these calls, and just the get together that we had after going to the office and kind of just discussing the new tactics that you gave us. Personally, Joe, I think that you taught me the confidence that I think I needed to start to execute those sales, and provided our team and myself with the tools to better the service that we can provide for our customers. So overall, I'm just really looking forward to the growth that this team will experience, and I'm excited to put those tools and those tactics into place.
Thank you so much, Kendall. How about you, Claudia? Oh, Claudia's on the phone. Okay, I can see that. I'm going to move over. Maria, did you enjoy the training? And was there anything that you'd like to add? I mean, you've been in the Pedego landscape for a while. How many years have you been involved with Pedego, Maria?
About 3.5 years.
I'd say more like 4.5, because of the lead up time to open the store. Really?
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah.
so Maria,
You know what, Joe?
what do you feel about how things went?
I think things went very, very well. I come from a teaching background, and we had countless hours of professional development. And I always found something that I could take away from that particular session. And in this session, you opened my eyes in many different ways. You gave me much more confidence to really to approach the customers, and I really appreciate it. And we've been testing each other at the store because we do have a great team. I want to make sure that everybody hears that. I love the people that I work with, and so we have been saying that this bike is too expensive, and then we're practicing. Oh,
Nice.
well, I appreciate that you've let me know that.
Yeah.
What do you have in mind? Yeah. So I've been very impressed also with your energy and with your commitment to what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know what? It comes back to the why, right? And when I'm helping you and your team be a better salesperson, getting more butts on bikes, and we're affecting positive impact on people, it truly resonates for me. So I believe in what I'm doing, and I appreciate that you guys are in the same position. So thank you, Maria. I really appreciate you. Hey, Claudia, you're the lead salesperson in the store, correct?
Yes.
Did you have fun on these calls?
Oh yes, I learned a lot, and I like also, like Mimi said, your energy.
Thank you.
Like that. I learned a lot from this, and it's true. We were practicing yesterday, so.
Nice. High five. Good job. I love it. Ron Rubio, I don't know if you're still available or if you're wrenching on a bike right now. How did these calls go for you? Oh, so you're
they worked. Yeah, got the baby. They worked really well. Honestly, I really enjoyed. I think I had more energy and I was more excited about going to work after we did these calls.
Nice.
Just because I had something more to like.
That's
look
not
forward
true.
to.
You have more energy since Ron is here.
No, but I had more energy and more excitement going to work, knowing that I could apply some of the things that I learned every day, like with these calls.
right.
And something to go back to what Andy had said about new dealers having this. It would be like, as a specific training, it'd be smart because it's kind of like, for example, basic training. One of the main things like with basic training is they don't want you. They'd rather you not know how to shoot, so then you could learn how to properly shoot. And it just makes it easier, basically, if you learn something completely from zero, then if you already know something, you have to switch it.
Correct. I mean, there is an opportunity for people that have been, like folks like yourself, like Maria, who's been involved in the business for 4.5 years, to learn new things, and then, of course, to be able to make positive change in your approach. But I agree with you. If you're a new dealer, either way, I offer 100% money back guarantee, and I want you to be delighted with my training. Dawn, Tom, Cassidy, and Wendy also agree with it. If you're not delighted with the training, then Joe Marcoux doesn't get paid, or he gives you your money back, and there's no credit on a bike. So I mean, either way, it has to win. And ultimately, I want to say thank you to the Pedego Naples team. All of you have just been on point. This has been a lot of fun. So we're just going to sign off from Dawn, Tom, and Cassidy and Wendy. So thank you all, Pedego, for supporting your dealers. I know that the team at Pedego Naples really appreciates you guys, and so do I. So see you guys.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll edit that video, guys. How do you guys feel now that the video, and of course, once the video is edited, I'll forward it over to the team at corporate, and I'll copy you on the email, Andy. Did you guys want to try to do another call, like maybe just a 60-minute call on Friday, just to kind of do it all, like you guys actually role play when somebody walks in the door all the way to the end process so that we get it down. I'm giving you my time if you want it.
Can we do it at 9 so I can look pretty?
I'm flying on Friday, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to be on that call.
So do you want to do it next week?
Yeah. What? How long? I didn't hear.
Be on the call, brother.
You broke up in terms of the time that it's going to take. How long?
60 minutes. Just an
60
hour.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't we do Wednesday the 7th and you, now the question is if it's 9, it would be 8 a.m. Central.
I would rather do it with everybody in the shop.
Yes.
Because what we can do is we can, the morning times are generally not busy, but somebody can peel off myself or my mom if she's in the shop, peel off and help somebody so that it can be continued on. Okay. So I would, and that way everybody's together for the final one.
So do you want to do 10 a.m.?
Yeah, hold on one second.
You got it.